If you had your mother present at your wedding, then it is a blessing you should be grateful for every day of your life. This was not the case of Nkem, and here is her story. In the eastern part of Nigeria is a small village known as Amechi. It was a place where tradition ruled and the strength of family was revered above all else. Among the villagers, a woman named Adaora had once lived a life of quiet contentment. She had married Chike, a hard-working farmer from a respected family, and together they had built a life of simple happiness. Their home was modest but full of love. Although they were not wealthy, their hearts were rich with joy. Chike was the love of Adora's life. Together they had one child, a daughter named Nkem, whose name meant my own. Nkem was her mother's pride and joy, a spirited girl with bright eyes and a smile that could light up even the darkest of days. Adaora and Chike had longed for more children, especially a son, as tradition dictated that sons were the bearers of family legacy and security. But fate had other plans, and after many years of trying, Nkem remained their only child. Despite this, Chike loved his wife and daughter deeply. He would always say that Nkem was worth more than 10 sons, and he showered his families with affection and care. They were a close-knit trio, bound by love rather than the expectations of society. But in Amici, the whispers of tradition could not be ignored for long, and Adaora could sense the disapproving eyes of Chike's family, especially his brothers and cousins, who believed that only a son could secure the family's future. Then tragedy struck, like a thief in the night. Chike, in the prime of his life, fell ill with a mysterious fever. The village healers tried their best, but their efforts were in vain. Within weeks, Chike was gone, leaving Adaora and Nkem shattered. The mourning period was long and filled with sorrow. But even as Adaora grieved, a new and more insidious pain crept into her life. In the weeks following Chike's burial, his family descended upon Adora's home. His brothers and cousins, who had once greeted her with smiles, now came with cold, hard eyes and demands. According to tradition, without a son to inherit his father's property, all of Chike's wealth, including his farmland, livestock, and home, belonged to his male relatives. Adaora, they said, had no claim. Her daughter Nkem, though loved, was considered only a temporary member of the family. Once she is married, she would become part of another man's household. Adaora was devastated. Everything she and Chike had worked for, everything they had built together was taken from her. The farm, the house, even the small savings they had accumulated, all were claimed by Chike's brothers. Adaora was left with nothing but the clothes on her back and the weight of her grief. With nowhere else to turn, she moved into a small rundown shack on the edge of the village, clutching Nkem to her chest as they faced an uncertain future. Life was unbearably hard. Adaora, once the wife of a respected farmer, now had to scrape by the menial jobs, working in the fields of others and selling small goods in the market, just to put food on the table. The villagers pitied her, but pity did not feed her or her child. Her hands, once soft and accustomed to a life of modest comfort, became rough and calloused from the toil. Her body weakened, but her spirit remained fierce. For Nkem, she fought every day to keep a roof over their heads and to provide an education for her daughter, knowing that schooling was the one thing that could offer Nkem a future better than her own. As Nkem grew older, she became more aware of her mother's struggles. The once carefree girl became serious and determined, vowing to make her mother proud. Adaora had always told her daughter that life was not fair, but it was still worth fighting for. Nkem took these words to heart. She excelled in school, rising above the taunts of her classmates who mocked her for her poverty. She was smart, ambitious, and beautiful, just like her mother had been in her youth. Years passed, and as Nkem entered womanhood, a young man named Obinna from a neighboring village began to court her. He was kind, respectful, and hardworking, everything Adaora had hoped for in a match for her daughter. When Obinna proposed, Adaora was overjoyed, even as her heart ached with the knowledge that her daughter's wedding would soon take her away from her. She had raised Nkem with every ounce of strength that she had left, and though their bond was unbreakable, she knew that her daughter's future lay elsewhere. The wedding preparation began and the village buzzed with excitement. Adaora, despite her meager means, worked tirelessly to ensure that Nkem's wedding would be a beautiful occasion. She shrimped and saved, even selling the few precious items she had left to afford a simple but elegant dress for her daughter. It was a bittersweet time. Adora knew that her purpose had been fulfilled, that Nkem would have a better life than she had. Yet, there was an unshakable sadness in her heart. As the wedding day approached, Adora's head began to falter. The years of hardship had taken their toll on her body, and though she tried to hide it from Nkem, the weight of her sacrifices had become too much. On the eve of Nkem's wedding, Adora collapsed. The village healer was called, but it was clear that Adora's time was near. Her body, worn down by years of struggle, could no longer carry the burden she had borne for so long. Nkem sat by her mother's side, tears streaming down her face. "Mama, please hold on. Please hold on for me," she whispered, her voice trembling. Nkem stood before the altar, dressed in the wedding gown her mother had worked so hard to provide, but her heart was heavy. Tears welled in her eyes as she looked around at the crowd. She felt the absence of her mother like a gaping hole in her chest. She had dreamed of this day, of walking down the aisle with her mother by her side, of seeing her mother's proud smile as she exchanged vows with Obina. But now, that dream had been shattered. As the ceremony began, a sudden gust of wind swept through the village square. The villagers looked up, startled as the air seemed to shift, and then something miraculous happened. The wind carried with it the sweet scent of wildflowers, Adora's favorite, and the sky, which had been overcast, parted to reveal a single ray of sunlight that bathed Nkem in its glow. It was as if the heavens were acknowledging Adora's presence, reminding everyone that though she was gone, her spirit was still there, watching over her daughter. Nkem, feeling the warmth of the sun on her face, took a deep breath. In that moment, she knew her mother had not truly left her. Adora's strength, love, and sacrifices were woven into the very fabric of Nkem's being. She felt her mother's presence in the breeze, in the flowers, in the light that now surrounded her, and then her heart ached. She stood tall, knowing that Adora's legacy lived on through her. The ceremony continued, and as Nkem and Obina exchanged their vows, there was a quiet reverence in the air. The villagers who had once pitied Adora now looked upon her memory with respect and admiration. She had given everything for her daughter, and in doing so, she had left behind a legacy far greater than wealth or status. Nkem's wedding day, though filled with sadness, became a celebration of her mother's unbreakable spirit, a testament to the love that transcends even death. And so, as Nkem stepped into her new life as a wife and eventually a mother herself, she carried with her the lessons Adora had taught her. That strength comes not from wealth or status, but from love, resilience, and courage to face life hardships head on. Adora may not have been there to see her daughter wed, but her presence was felt in every step Nkem took. In the end, Adora's life was not defined by her struggles, but by the legacy of love and perseverance she left behind. A legacy that would live on in Nkem and in generations to come. Hey treasures, hope you enjoyed this story. You can put your thoughts in the comments section, and you can encourage by subscribing, and that will only motivate me to put out more stories out here. Thank you. See you again next time. Bye.